So when I was younger, I had dissociation of it. Um, it wasn't till right before 9/11, I started to have anxiety. It started off with anxiety, and I started to see a psychiatrist because I was so afraid of being closed in, coming into the city, and that's something that I still struggle with even now. But it started with anxiety, and then I had a nervous breakdown when I was 26 because everything started to come up. And I don't want to put mental, like psychiatrists or therapists down, but I think okay. So I'm just going according to my experience, and there's something that I'm working on a book about survivors and the aftermath with mental health and PTSD. So when I was diagnosed, they want to know your childhood. You tell them what happened. And of course you're afraid because now all these fears come back. And I was only 28, and this psychiatrist, I went from one psychiatrist to another, that I wind up taking 10 medications. And I was misdiagnosed, so they said I had schizophrenia because of the fear, right? So I had schizophrenia, I had bipolar 1, I have bipolar 2, I have multiple personalities. I mean, everything in the book they've put in it. And I blame, and I don't trust all psychiatrists, and I'm sorry, because it's just my own experience. And some therapists. Do I see a psychiatrist now? Absolutely, he's amazing. But they misdiagnosed me, and because of that, I think 4 or 5 years later, I wound up losing my children. And that took a toll on me. I never was suicidal, but I knew I wasn't okay, so I would always commit myself for 3 years. And someone called and said I was a bad mother, whatever the case may be. And I have 3 children, and the 2 older ones were taken away from me in New York State, which that's something that we need to fight, as well as parents or as people, as women who have children, and they have taken away our children because of any mental health. Look at the background, look at the domestic violence, look at the human trafficking, look at everything, because a lot of us, they're taking our children. And I wanted to commit suicide. I have, when they took my children away, October of 2008, I wrote death. I wanted to die. I never knew what love was, except for loving my children. That was something just so unique, unconditional love. And I was married, and I'm still with my husband now, and I still didn't know what love was. And through they took my children away. I went through a dark path, and I wound up using drugs for 8 months, cocaine, anything that would numb me. And in 2008, I remember this church that my mother's foster sister, introduced me when I was 21, and I felt the presence of God there. And in 2008, I was homeless. I was sleeping in St. Mary's Hospital in Waterbury, and my drug dealer, was bringing me drugs there, and I had, I think, like $10 to my name. And he came, he said, "What are you doing? This is not your life." So God was with me through everything, because no drug dealer is gonna tell you, this is not your life, you need to go back. I will put you up in a hotel, and I will give you bus money, but don't ever come back to Waterbury. Wow. And I started my healing through there. Was it hard? Extremely hard in 2008. because now I'm not only dealing with the trauma, but when I was homeless, I did traffic myself once, and it's hard to say, my husband is here and I've never shared that, but I did traffic myself once. In 2008, my church family didn't know because of the shame, like you're dirty, like how, or the shame came, and then again the anxiety came back, and in 2009 I started seeing, not 2009, I want to say 2012, I started seeing a therapist, and she told me, Miss Ortiz, what you're going through is PTSD. That's all you have, and it's anxiety. And PTSD is something that I have to live with for the rest of my life. This is something that's very hard on me. I just went through it a couple of months ago, and to bounce back from it, it's so hard. It's really hard. But I was properly diagnosed with PTSD. Now, to help a survivor with human trafficking that's coming in for counseling, when you first start counseling, the verbal counseling is not always gonna help. It's not always gonna help. I've done that. I've done cognitive behavior, which helped me 4 years ago. And now I am doing the bio and neurofeed, which is correcting the right side of my trauma. And that is helping me, and that's how I'm able to sit here today, because that's helping me. And that's where psychiatrists and therapists need to get it right. We don't need to sit there and, if we dealt with our past, let's just work on the symptom, which is anxiety. Why am I afraid? Okay, so let's do either EMDR, which has helped so many survivors of human trafficking, a lot of my sisters. That's the next step that I want to do. But the saddest part of this is that biofeed, neurofeed, EMDR are not covered. Like, I have my husband's insurance and it's not fully covered. So we're stuck. We're stuck. Like, I had to do like a GoFundMe so I can continue. So we need like therapists like you and psychiatrists and these people that are offering, that do this type of work, to offer it free for survivors, whether it's human trafficking or domestic violence. Everything is about money, 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 and it's expensive to do these treatments. So that's why I want to continue to fight with mental health, because I've been through it, I'm still going through it, and there's a gap, there's a crack that needs to be bridged.
Amen.